I'm Matt Catlow, music producer and mix engineer based in Brighton in the UK. And today I'm going to take you behind the scenes to show you how we took the fabulous Nicolas Rixon song, Both Ways, from demo to single.
I composed and wrote Both Ways for the previous album, Never Say Never Again, but I didn't include it. I wasn't feeling it. It wasn't quite matching the rest of the album, which now I don't know if that's true, but I shelved it and then returned to it. And by that point, I'd started working with Matt, initially doing vocal mixes, and then we started working together on music. I would send him my demos, which I'd composed and produced in MIDI, and then he'd reproduce them professionally. And we'd started working on a plot to make a sound for my next album built around Giorgio Moroder, Culture Club, Limahl, kind of mid to late 80s polished Moroder sound, where it was more fantasy soundtracks, and I thought Both Ways would fit perfectly. So I sent Matt the demo, and it came back. It was one of the best interpretations I'd ever heard of something I'd done. I was absolutely overjoyed, and Matt brought things to this track and elevated it to a level that I didn't think possible, and it opened up a whole new way of working with me, collaborating with people, co-producing to achieve things that I'm not able to achieve myself.
So, originally, Nick sent the demo of Both Ways as a stereo mix, but as we've started working on the rest of the album, he's been sending over full track stems of his demos instead. That actually works really well, because there's often a lot of elements that can be kept in the final mix, maybe layered, tweaked, or just enhanced a bit, you know. In this particular case, I rebuilt everything from the ground up. I like to spend a good amount of time deconstructing the original demo, figuring out what's really working, what might need a bit more attention. And Nick's pretty modest about his skills as a producer and arranger, but you can tell from the demo that all the key ingredients are there. What it really needed was just a bit of polish and a few extra touches to bring it closer to his references, especially that classic 80s Giorgio Moroder vibe. Okay. Let's jump into my project and take a look at the drums, because that's where I usually like to start. So the drum pattern here is almost identical to the one on Nick's demo, because he's great with drums and usually has a really clear idea of what he wants. Sound-wise, we leaned heavily on the classic Linn drum, that sort of iconic machine you hear on pretty much every big pop record from the early 80s. The kick and claps especially recognisable. I did add a hi-hat pattern and this chugging bass though, just to give the track a bit more forward momentum. And there's actually two snares layered together, one from my go-to 80s drum library and another from an old Akai drum machine, which happens to be one of Nick's favourites and is now in my collection. Nick wanted that classic FM bass, sort of twangy on the attack but still warm and full, and the obvious choice was the DX7, so I started with Arturia's version, but there was something about Nick's demo we preferred, so we went back to what he used originally, which was actually a free download called Dext.
We found a way of working with each other, a language. It sounds very contrived to say that, but it really is true. We found a way of working fluency of our production process. Even certain things, like if I wanted a particular sound or the guitar to do a particular thing, or I don't know, a hi-hat to do, I would hum the lines. I would sing the lines. I'd produce in the way that I would sing a guitar solo and mix it into the track, send it to him, and he would, you know, it was exactly what I wanted. Saxophones, you know, whatever it might be. It takes a while to get there, but when you do get there, the results speak for themselves, I believe.
Now, when it comes to guitars, I use a mix of real and virtual instruments. These acoustic drums are a good example of when I'll go virtual, Because unless you've got a great guitar, quality mics and a treated room, recording acoustic guitars can be tricky. These virtual ones sound really polished and they lift the track nicely. I kept a couple of Nick's keyboard parts in the demo, but mostly re-recorded everything with classic 80s synth recreations. The choir sound really captures that nostalgic vibe. They're from a Fairlight emulation, which back in the day cost around 30 grand. I love that sound though.
Searching for something I want to believe. Searching for someone no longer with me.
So Nick records all his vocals at home, and I think he uses a fairly inexpensive microphone. When I get them and mix them into the track, I use plugins that emulate compressors, chorus and reverb effects from the 80s. And then we're into the final stages of back and forth with mix revisions and mastering. It's a really collaborative process throughout though, and I'm thrilled with how this came out.
I'd always done everything myself out of necessity rather than choice necessarily, from the bare bones of composing to mixing to mastering, and I'm just an individual. I'm not a professional musician. I'm not technically trained. And for me to be able to relax and delegate things and pass things on to people that can interpret things and achieve things. So as much as I do love producing and composing, I feel it's going to be really hard for me to go back to being a one-man band, because the joy of collaboration is you can all bring something to the table, and it's really exciting.